into around about 60 Ks for the first gear, turn 12, and unfortunately he was nowhere near the apex that time, but he's on a first, he won't be the last to make the mistake through there. There are so many big braking stops around this Kota layout. This is another of them into turn 1, while we've already seen Marquez run wide earlier on into 10, 11 and into 12. Huge, heavy braking. By A and Pedro Acosta is the first ride in the 203s, definitely joined immediately by the likes of Martin, Sparger, Fernandez, Augusto Fernandez, and Jack Miller. Martina now leads early on with a 2:03.036. Rolling cycle at times that we saw this morning from Maverick Vinales to the 2:03.2. Elijah Sparger, and that's a significant jump on what we saw from him this morning. He was very quiet session for LA from a 41. He didn't do anything better than a 2:04.8 this morning. He's already the second 0.2 quicker than that this afternoon. So Martin, the man that's chasing the championship, the man they're chasing here near the car of this practice session here in Kota, under some glorious spring sunshine here, almost perfect conditions for Grand Prix motorcycle racing. Of course, tomorrow at 3 p.m. local time, the TSO sprint will be underway. 10 laps, and the full distance Grand Prix here on Sunday, over 20 laps.
Yes, thanks to a brilliant boss, Massimo Rivoli. At the moment, Elijah Sparger, you have to say, very non-committed about his plans beyond 2024. It does seem that if he does decide to hang up his head as a race rider, well, he'll have an open door, an open ticket to become a brilliant test and development rider. That could be important as well, to tap into a latest experience, given there's all kinds of strong rumours that there will be a significant temperature change, capacity, engine capacity change, when the rules will, or new rules will be implemented in the 2027 MotoGP World Championship. LA's, I think, just giving themselves 3 or 4 more Grand Prix, just to see whether the hunger, the desire is still there. He's 34 years of age nowadays. He's the oldest statesman of the MotoGP World Championship. This weekend is his 324th Grand Prix start. He's made so many sacrifices. He's certainly put in the hard yards, Lewis. You do wonder whether LA's being so non-committed as he is right now, whether he is actually sort of starting to seriously contemplate maybe the arm of the time. Yeah, I guess ultimately it will all come down to how competitive Elijah Sparger is. For so many of these riders, the enjoyment comes from winning. The enjoyment comes from being competitive, and Elijah Sparger isn't. I guess that will make the decision for him. Of course, he's put in the shade a little bit recently by Maverick Vinales. It's so easy to forget. It was just a couple of rounds ago, the first race of the season. So many of us arrived at the sales circuit on the Sunday at Qatar. Probably tipping the latest Spargo for victory that weekend, that afternoon, and it all went wrong in the race itself. But the last 5 times now, Alicia Spargo has finished the Grand Prix. He's finished now in 8th place. It has been in the top 6 since the taking of last season. So that's the kind of streak that Alicia Spargo's going to have to try and snap out on if he can. There's no question how high and esteem Priya holds Alicia Spargo in. They love him to bits. He's been such an integral part of their rise from also Rams, wooden spoon merchants among GP. Half a decade or so ago to now being genuine race victory and title contenders. Just from Alicia Spargo's point of view, this is how much more gas is there in the tank. It's a training regime coming into this 2024 season, which certainly isn't the kind of thing you do when you're winding your career down. But I guess Alicia Spargo, the longer this season goes on, particularly if he's not able to extract the maximum out of Prix, he may have a decision to make. He said pre-season his future is in his hands. It will be all down to speed and results. And whether, of course, it's what's people, whether they all feel like they need to move in a different direction, maybe bringing on some younger talent on board. What is not up for debate is that Trinity will somehow keep Alicia Spargo in the fold and taking the role, which is a role his brothers fulfilling very well at the moment. Cage, I think Paul Spargo was in Jerez, wasn't he, early this week before he hopped on the plane across the Atlantic to carry out his latest duties as a phenomenal pundit and analyst at Spanish colleague Dazai. I've actually saw Paul near the press conference, so he had doing a few interviews. So he's still doing a sterling job behind the scene for KTM. John Zarco on the motorcycle with the team that won this very Grand Prix here 1 year ago when Alex Rins was sat on top of the LCR Honda. It's a really good weekend actually for LCR last year because Rins was second to Bagnaia and the team so strong as well. Talking about Bagnaia and the factory, let's see how they're faring so far here in Kota. Former Kota winner now, Martinez 4th, 1 place out of Bagnaia in 5th place. Let's get some thoughts of how Rogassini, the Ducati team was. Who is Richigamme? Yeah, certainly it's the best opportunity to get the chance, to me anyway, to chat with Mauro, and a pleasure to do so. What a start to 2024. It's certainly not been easy for you stepping in. You've already signed Pecco, you've got his teammate to sort out, you've got Pramac and BR 46 deals to sort out, and then last time out, Pecco and Mark coming together. A busy start to 2024. How have you found it all for yeah, I mean, one of the biggest noise because, you know, I started working in the country 20 years ago, so I perfectly understand the situation, so there might be point of view, but the sporting point of view is not so easy. So I'm still know me, I'm still watching around, so I do my best in this moment. Let's try to cover up some of the hot topics then. World Championship leader is on the Ducati at the moment, Jorge Martin. It's been so impressive with victory last time out. How much have you been pleased to see him riding in the manner that he is? I mean, Jorge is a champion. He showed us a lot of channel time last year. This year, he started as we finished last year. So he's a champion. Not surprised, honestly speaking. In terms of the incident between Mark and Pecco, what have you done after that incident to try and make sure we don't see something similar happening again? I mean, very easy. I sent both of them a message Monday, Tuesday, I remember. Just, hey guys, everything's under control. People and Marks, actually like, yes, there's everything under control, looking for quarter, so positive, very positive. That's good to hear. Already there's a lot of talk, not only about the rider market, but in terms of which teams are going to be running which bikes at the moment for the next year. So VR 46 and Pramac both have their contracts ended with Ducati at the end of this current season. What's the latest update on the negotiations with both of them? Yeah, we have some table
Park, Hockenheim and Silverstone as well. Sector 1 very much reminiscent of Marquez and Bagnaia, isn't it, at Silverstone? As we kick up Vinales, this is right at the top end of the circuit. The bottom gear, turn 11, crucial then now to get good drive, get good acceleration grip as we power now down this long back straight, 1.2 kilometers in length, which makes it the longest straight on the Grand Prix calendar. Over that little crest, which can stay on set of the bike in the braking zone. It's all nice and clean, this by Vinales. Good lap as well coming in from Maverick. Out on some fresh Michelin rubber there, brand new medium front, medium rear at the start of the session. Yeah, Vinales is one of those who did go from Europe early on this morning in free practice, although of course if you're familiar with MotoGP, you'll know that that session this morning did not count towards qualifying. Solely this 60-minute practice session will determine who moves through into qualifying 2. Maverick Vinales winning just ahead of Pedro Acosta on circuit, both on target to improve at the moment. Almost certainly the final 15 to 20 minutes as well. We'll expect the fireworks in this practice sessions. Vinales now approaches the final corner. Of course, we have seen him challenge at the front here at Cota before. Of course, famously in being on the crutch to the wave in early 2017, he was challenging Marquez, but crashed out of that leading backwards. Up in the second place in these early stages on 203.1. That's a 10th quicker than he went this morning. It was right here in Cotra, and it's just his second Moto2 start back in 2014 where he dominated that Grand Prix. I mean, set the fastest lap on his Moto2 debut in Qatar. It was those two performances which immediately caught the eye of Ben Suzuki team Moss, Davide Bruddy on his way. Yeah, he's our man, absolutely no question whatsoever. And Vinales was taken up with just one season in Moto2 into the factory Suzuki fold for the 2016 season, wasn't it? And then we go, Pecco Bagnaia out of the final corner. Winds the power on the factory Ducati up to 5th place, creeping him towards the low 203s. The all-time lap record holder here around Cota, Bagnaia, on his way to that pole here last year, which looked like being a catalyst to another dream double. He got half a job done when he won the Tito sprint and then properly fluffed his lines right here when he got the factory Ducati when he was 2.5 seconds clear Alex Finn. And there was that rather strange analogy where he said, well, the Ducati's almost too good. You don't get any sort of warning about when you can actually lose control. And he suddenly raised a few eyebrows at a post-race statement last year. Only though many riders playing the violin for Pecco. When he said that, many riders would have happily swapped for the too good motorcycle that Pecco Bagnaia eventually took to the World Championship. Of course, that's going to be a feature for Pecco Bagnaia on occasions over the years, making mistakes when arguably he's not under pressure. It feels like when the pressure's at its highest, that's when Pecco Bagnaia is at his best, as he proved late last season back for the World Championship. So many of the incidents and crashes Bagnaia saying Grand Prix have been when he's in rather unchallenged positions. The unchallenged lead he had here last year was in a very safe second place in Argentina last year when he crashed, safe second in India when he went down, and he looked like he had the sprint under control in Portimao too when he made that mistake. So Bagnaia will feel keen to iron out those mistakes because it's very clear already after just 2 rounds of 2024 that Oimar Feed is not going to leave many points out there to be snatched by the rest of them. Bounce back ability is what Bagnaia needs here this weekend, and he has delivered in the past. He's not normally a rider that dwells too long on setbacks. If you look at his most recent DNFs, his powers of recovery have been pretty amazing. Immediately after his last 9 DNFs, he's then gone on to win the very next Grand Prix on 5 occasions and be on the podium in 2 others. So if the omens are to be proven right here this weekend, Bagnaia will bounce back strongly from the setback, shall we say, of his decision to engage with this spam down at turn 5 late on in that Portimao Grand Prix, which has certainly got MotoGP trending all the way around the world on that social media. We do feel that that was just a little bit of an appetizer for what's to come over the remaining many, 20 races, 19 races in 2024. Fair to say, it divided opinion, didn't it? The Marquez and Bagnaia bus stop in Portimao, and like you say, it feels like the sign of things to come, because you can't imagine Marquez is going to get much weaker from here. He will surely only get stronger as he adapts to the Ducati GP23 and shakes off some of those old Honda habits. And likewise, you'd imagine that the Ducati GP24 will just get stronger as the year goes on, as the current spec machine does tend to extend his advantage over the year-old bike as we go through a season. But Marquez is Marc Marquez. He's a phenomenal talent, of course, 8 times world champion and chasing an 8th victory here at the circuit of the Americas. But of course, he's not tasted victory here since 2021. Marc Marquez, I guess likewise, has a score to settle with this circuit of the Americas. Of course, he missed the opportunity to compete here last year. Getting quite acquainted with that P1 in MotoGP right now as he is your man, Jorge Martin, who flings the Prima Puma Ducati through the high-speed turn 18, the right-hander that completes 3 rights and is into the final sector. He'll then bank in left 390 now to the final corner 20. Another lap that's right on the money here for Martin. Yeah, man, good look at that medium from soft rear tyres. Another low 203 from the Spanish driver.
First corner is right at the top of that brow. It sort of flattens out the gradient as you reach that first corner. And it's sort of a tricky first corner to get right at the start of the Grand Prix. So many different lines available through there. Marquez, who knows the fastest line for just about every single corner of this circuit in the Americas. Sixth at the moment for Marquez, 203.175, but he's improved by thick end of a second on what we saw from him earlier on this morning. What about our most recent race winner here in Coach Alex Rins last year? Still trying to understand what he needs to get the best out of himself and the new factory Yamaha. Alex at the moment down in 17th place. He's currently actually in the pits right now. Best of 2:03.991. And some rather interesting news that's breaking here right now at the Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas. Some of our colleagues at motorsport.com have linked you with Lynn Jarvis, where it seems that Lynn Jarvis has confirmed that 2024 will be his farewell in the MotoGP World Championship course, fresh off the bat, overtaking Fabio Quartararo for 2025 and 2026. Well, that was one of Lynn Jarvis's final accomplishments at Yamaha. It wasn't a bad bit of business, was it? So, yeah, Lynn Jarvis, it seems, deciding to step aside. Some of the benches in the future, whatever it is next in life for him. He's been such a stalwart, such a loyal servant to Yamaha. We wish him well in his new endeavours. Quarter of a century at the helm of Yamaha. It's been quite the story, hasn't it? And so much success over the years for Yamaha, of course, and much of it with Valentino Rossi on board. Of course, Manuel Lorenzo and Fabio Quartararo also registered world championships for the Yamaha brand. They're a long way from that at the moment, and their road back towards the front, a key part of that was securing the services of Fabio Quartararo. As much as we talk about improving motorcycles, there's arguably no better tuning pile than a fast rider on top of it, and there are very few faster than Fabio Quartararo, although of course this might be one of the circuits where he might have his work cut out to be top Yamaha, of course, with the record of Alex Rins that you alluded to, a twice-four winner here in MotoGP, a winner in all three classes of racing here in the Circuit of the Americas is Alex Rins. So you might well give Fabio Quartararo a hurry up this weekend, but Quartararo, of course, locked in for the next in the World Championship at the moment. Actually, he's in third. There's that pole position in Portimao, which he backed up with a second place in the race itself. 21-point top Pro World Champion leader Jorge Martin. Of course, the story back in last season was of Martin knowing that if he won the World Championship, it was going to be the key to unlock the spot in the factory team. But of course, Ducati haven't got that luxury this year to wait and see how the World Championship plays out before they identify Pecco Bagnaia's team. Now, of course, we know Bagnaia's going well. That was announced before the season began. Ducati have been in this position in the past, haven't they? In the years when Jorge Lorenzo rode for the team, and of course, Daniel Petrucci too, having to try and make a decision midway through the season regarding their long-term future within the factory sport, and timing that decision correctly and identifying the right candidate is not going to be necessarily easy for Ducati, because there are no shortage of candidates who would quite happily jump on that bike alongside Pecco Bagnaia. It's not just a two-horse race here at the rodeo, is it? Between the Beast and Martin, you have to factor in a certain Mr. Marquez on the 93 machine, who certainly has factory aspirations of his own inside the Gas Tech 3 garage, where we will find a superstar in the making. No question, Pedro across the top three this morning. At the moment, sitting in fourth place, getting himself very familiar very quickly with the demands, the unique demands and challenges of this COTA circuit. On the brakes into that very tricky turn 12. I mean, the top speed so far this weekend has gone to Brad Binder, 350.6 kilometres. Second on the speed charts is actually Acosta, 346.1k. So that shot there was an example of what it's like for him to break from about 345, 350 kilometres an hour down to 60 kilometres an hour for that first gear turn 12. And he's making it look so easy, isn't he? Which the same can't be said, unfortunately, for Fabio the Gianantonio, who gets it all wrong. It's Gianantonio, who's currently in 9th place in the European speed chart. Top 3 in the speed charts are all factory KTMs. Brad Binder, Pedro Costa and Jack Miller all rapid through there as we Looking at Joan Mir on the Repsol Honda, looking to lift himself out of the bottom end of the top 20. Yeah, that KTM, the proper rocket ship. They had 3 of the top 4 speeds on the opening Grand Prix weekend in Qatar, and that long start finished right in the sale, so they've found some proper cronies, haven't they, this year. Back in Matting Oppen in Austria. Here is Mir at the moment, languishing down in 20th place. This should be a fairly significant improvement on his own personal best time of the weekend so far. It is indeed a big spot. Mir to the fringes of that all-important top 10, thanks to a 2:03.504. His teammate Luca Marini, first ever MotoGP podium here last year, of course, when he was a Marini VR46 Ducati rider. Unfortunately, Luca Marini marooned at the back of the pack once again. Not able to find himself in the 203s right now. There he is on screens, being shadowed by HRC team manager Alberto Puig. Just under 1.5 seconds back right now, Martin is Luca Marini. Yeah, we wondered whether there was some green shoots of the company for Marini this morning when he was actually...
Stick it on this man tomorrow, the Tissot sprint, because his amazing record continues. His podium is in the last 10 sprints for Jorge Martin. He's not been off the sprint podium since he was 5th in Catalunya, which does feel like an awful long time ago now. And including in those 10 podiums are 8 wins. He loves the good old Super Saturday, doesn't he, Jorge Martin? Will he enjoy a Super Saturday stateside here in Kotek tomorrow? But at the moment, he's doing a bit of a mover road check to the top of MotoGP, leader of the championship and leader here on day 1 in Kotek. As we discussed earlier on this morning, I think he'll be more than happy for Marquez and Bagnaia to dominate the headlines by running into each other, or for Pedro Acosta to enjoy the limelight, which he's earned, make no mistake about it. But Jorge Martin will be quite happy to just fly under the radar if it means picking up more valuable World Championship points. Of course, he's the only rider after 2 rounds who's been on the podium in every single race and sprint we've seen so far this season. A couple of 3rd places bookended by that sprint win in Qatar and the Grand Prix win in Portimao. He's got a level of consistency and maturity that you could argue even as recently as a year ago Jorge Martin did not have. Yeah, 26 years of age now. He's coming into his prime, you may feel. Jorge Martin, certainly some good years ahead of him if he can stay fit and healthy. Maverick Vinales, fastest man this morning at the moment in 2nd place. Let's have a look at Vinales through this breathtaking turn 10. Real spectacular part of the circuit, the Americas. Full gear between 250, 260 kilometers an hour. Your eyes will be on stalks coming through here. It's very easy as well to get the bike unsettled, unload the suspension and then ride the rodeo. It's perfectly executed that though by Maverick Vinales, who really does look at one, doesn't he? At the moment with that factory of brilliant man and machine working in perfect harmony right now. So harsh, wasn't it, for Maverick to have the gearbox issue late on in Portimao. 20 points. It's a heavy, heavy blow to take in terms of the championship, and just for your morale as well. I mean, I suppose the consolation for Vinales was he was there all weekend in Portimao. Had great speed in both the sprint and the Grand Prix. Great speed as well in qualifying. Just a shame that it was that gearbox issue which really stopped it from being one of his best weekends in his Aprilia career. He'd done pretty much everything right, hadn't he, up to that point, and as good a ride as it looked at the time, it was an even better ride when we found out later on when he was grappling with during the race that he had those gearbox problems from very early on in the race. Every time he shifted from 5th to 6th gear, Vinales was encountering problems with the gearbox, and that probably we talked about at the end of his race on the very last lap when he was on target for 2nd place. But Vinales certainly will be a contender this weekend for some pre-weekend thoughts from Aprilia. We can catch a word now with Massimo Roman, who's a bit late with Jack Apoyar. Check out to you. Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon to Massimo as well as the guys in the box. We're just saying things have started pretty well for Maverick. Before we speak about the big news coming into the weekend, and Fabio's renewal at Yamaha and your thoughts and how much it really will involve on Maverick. How grateful we'll see you. Go with so much confidence, it seems, at the moment. Very good for Maverick. Let's hope that also on Asia get the same pace. Regarding Fabio, I don't have much really to comment. Was he a Yamaha rider? I mean, it would be a Yamaha rider. So I want to say priority for us is the bike. We grow the bike as much as we can in order to be and take. I mean, we are more powerful on the market, and we get an item like PQ to say me that. I already do is we want an Asian Maverick with Richigamme, very easy break. I already agree with me also to see what that was like, with the riders and see what can we maybe do together with us. And then we go to option 4, 5, and 6. But hopefully, when you have super talented like Fabio or other super talented that can was the situation for full age, I want them to listen and understand if there is a chance for both. And so it's nothing strange. I would say I'm not surprised that they stay there. So that's it. Alex, speaking to the media yesterday, was saying that he wasn't aware if there was a concrete offer there for Fabio from Aprilia. Was there an offer on the table that the media reporting that at 12 million euros he signed for, whereas Aprilia were only offering 4? Was the offer there for him? Well, not at all. Brother talk. When we speak riders, we gave a sort of understanding on what could be the condition in case of
top Honda. He was pretty fast earlier on a 2:04.4. He's not really been able to go any quicker than that so far this afternoon. So it's plateaued a little bit for Luigi so far over the course of the day. The other Hondas relative to me are all towards the back of the field line. Zarco down in 17, Richigamme in 25. Looking at the back of the field. Of course, it was in this session, I think it was qualifying 3 years ago in Portimao, and the 4 Hondas occupying the bottom 4 spots on the grid. Just when you think it can't get worse for them, it gets worse. But they're hoping that there were some signs of light here. It's quite interesting when you look at the speed charts here in Kota.
Myself, Anthony Nelson, and Steve English alongside me will tackle in this delayed 10-minute warm-up session right trackside of the island. Steve in that pursuit for second in particular. It was one man versus an army, basically. It was Tom Rockets all the caddies, but it was a good scrap, and certainly when you look at what Richigamme is up against this weekend, this is the toughest track of the year for him, but he's still able to come away with that podium yesterday. Alvaro Bautista very strong to be able to finish up there in third position. Scott Redding looked good, and Andrea Iannone did a great job to come back through from problems in the first stint and then be very competitive, so he's going to be thereabouts today as well.
I might have done Bulega a disservice already focusing the topic of the conversation on the battle for second, but really it just talks about the dominance that we saw from the number 11 yesterday and how little we actually saw him on our screen, because he was 3 seconds up the road on lap 2, and basically from there it just makes a really controlling the race. It was actually very reminiscent of the performances that we've seen here with his teammates in the past.
Well, at least for Ducati and for Aruba AT, their colours were still on screen a lot because Alvaro Bautista was in the mix, but for Bulega we didn't see him because we didn't need to see him. He was so far in front, and the race was won on that second lap when Iannone had his problem, and suddenly the gap stretched out to 2.5 seconds, and then Bulega, you're just not catching him around here at that speed.
Now, there might have been some concern in the Aruba IT Ducati box when they saw top out Richigamme would be second on the grid just alongside Nicola Bulega, because he was perhaps the main rider who could have disrupted his rhythm or would have been a bit more willing to throw his bike in front at certain parts of the track. But of course Richigamme was already passed on the start and finish straight by 2 of the fellow Ducati riders, Iannone and Bautista, from there onwards. With those problems that Iannone had, of course, it was basically game over for anybody willing to battle with the number 11. But that battle for second was interesting. Richigamme really gaining that advantage over a lot of his rivals also in the pit stops. We saw the number 54, number 1, the old number 54. That's going to take some getting used to. We saw the reigning world champion basically gain a second advantage in the pit stops, particularly over Alvaro Bautista, who at that point had looked set to confirm an Aruba IT Ducati 1-2. And then it was a little bit too much for the number 19 to be able to gain back over the next 10 laps.
Yeah, there was one moment where Bautista lost about 2 or 3 tenths of a second just in the final few laps, and that was the moment that cost him a chance of finishing in second. But what was good was Alvaro understood that it's about finishing on the podium. He qualified on the second road grid in the Superpole session. He's put himself now where he's got a good opportunity. Superpole was his biggest issue last year. There was one front row at Aragon last year. Everything else was quite far down the field, really, from a few second rows, but a lot of the time you're having to look right down the order for him. If he can qualify well, he can race well, and he can keep himself in contention.
It wasn't even a case of Bautista last year not qualifying on the front row. It was very much a case of him not qualifying on the front 2 or even 3 rows in many rounds, particularly in that first half of the season. And it left him, if you look at his results last year, comparatively speaking, from race 1s to race 2s, there's a whole world difference, because of course he made up a lot of that advantage in the race. There's a lot of those gaps in the race. It's just a case of a little bit too much, a little bit too late for the number 19, then number 1 last season. So for him, obviously, it's a very good start to the season in that track, which he's always been fantastic.
Yeah, and even when you look at him historically, 200 odd starts, only 20 front rows or thereabouts. So for Alvaro, a rider of his speed talent, Superpole's always been the problem.
It was very much 2023, perhaps the exception, where he was on the front row more often than not, and I think he had around about 5 or 6 pole positions what that season. So very much a rider who will be looking to make improvements in the Super Bowl race and get his second podium this season. Of course, Bautista last year, until race 2 to be able to get that first podium, was very much not a start we've been used to for the number 19. A few riders will be looking to get their first podium of the season in their case. Here we have one of them, number 45, Scott Redding. Got top 5 finish yesterday, very much back to form. All it took was putting back onto the V4O.
Yeah, it's a bike that suits Scott's style and gives him a lot of confidence. One of the things we saw from him yesterday was on the run into the pits, really strong and aggressive. And that was one place where Alvaro Bautista lost a bit of time compared to everyone else. We saw when the pit stop staggered out that Alvaro had lost margin. The reason for that is your pit intervention time is from the pit entry line until the pit exit line. How you get into that pit entry is different for different riders. Obviously for Scott Redding, for Tom Richigamme, they were able to gain time on Alvaro because they could just break deeper, harder and more aggressively into the line. They were willing to take a bit more risk. than what Alvaro Bautista was. And then the outlap as well, that's where you have to push really hard and try and see what you can do. We saw Locatelli whenever he was leaving pit lane here, just trying to figure out how aggressive he can be with that fresh tyre or a slightly cooler tyre, even though it comes out in the tyre warmers, and just try and gain that experience on. There's time to be gained there.
Bautista and Redding saw a nice little battle between them, nice lead battle between both riders in race one. They were actually reasonably complimentary of each other in the post-race interviews yesterday. Can't say that the hatchet has been buried between them, and that's a topic that will probably pop up at some point during the season. But they were very much complimentary of each other yesterday with the battle we saw, and it was good to see them both actually be on a similar level. It's actually one thing that we haven't been able to see much in the Superbike of those two.
Yeah, exactly, and really important to be able to see it where your teammates are closely matched, or manufacturer mates are closely matched, that if you're on an independent bike or you're on an official bike, that you've got a chance to fight at the front, and I think we definitely have that this week.
The motors back in WSBK, first race back in the championship after 11 years, and it was 2 top 10s for Alex Lowe's and Axel Bassani. A good start to their campaign, all things considered. It's a very new project, a very raw project for both of the riders. And they were very much in that contention, amongst the manufacturers other than the Ducati team. So
yeah, they put their bike in immediately at a track like this where the track temperature came up and the grip went right down. Alex Lowe was very clear in his debriefs yesterday about the fact that when that temperature came up, he just didn't have that grip to drive out of corners. But they were still in the fight with the best Yamaha, so it shows that there's a high level from that bike straight away, different to what we had from the Kawasaki last year. But I think coming into this weekend, there wasn't the expectation that Lowe's was going to win 2 races like he did last year.
There's certainly the hope that he would, though. You can imagine it would have made a wonderful story. We've been talking about this 25 years since Gobert's famous win here, all throughout the week. It was probably a little bit too optimistic, but you never know when you come to the island what can happen here. We're getting our first laps in this warm-up session, and Steve, for anybody joining us for the first time this year, seeing a warm-up session for the first time, we can say perhaps in terms of the lap times, it's the least important session of the whole weekend, but it can be important, particularly for a lot of the riders who came into a little bit of trouble yesterday.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that's important for the riders is we're 23 degrees air temperature now. Yesterday it was 31 degrees track temperature. By the time we were racing, the air temperature had come up even further than that, 37 degrees, and the track temperature for the race was 55 degrees per outside. So conditions were really difficult for the riders to deal with out there. And then for a lot of people, it was about trying to give yourself the opportunity just to be able to stay in a group and try and run your race like that. It's not an easy place to come. So for this warm-up session, it then comes down to how are you approaching things? What are you looking to do out there? And for some riders, we saw Locatelli leave the pits and come straight back into the pit. He might well be trying to use this session to practice that pit entry and see if he's able to find a little bit more time on it.
One rider who's actually gone in and out is Michael Vandermark, out and in. He's back into pit lane now. Michael Vandermark had a big crash in turn 1 yesterday. Seemed to be all right from his side, but maybe a case of the bike not in perfect condition.
Yeah, and for Vandermark, it could be a case you go out, you make sure everything's okay, you come back into the pits. Big crash in turn 1, you're 325 k's an hour on the run in towards turn 1. A lot of energy goes through you whenever you have a crash like Mikey had, and for the bike, you want to just make sure everything's right. But that's what the warm-up session's for. You got 10 minutes to double-check everything.
He was the second captain, third one to Gary Montella, this man's teammate this season in World Superbike. All had big crash on his debut in the class. Fortunately, the number 5 seems to be pretty okay and will be on the grid again today to be able to battle for his first point of class. Actually, he was 13th in Superbike yesterday, so not too bad of a performance, first performance in Superbike in World Superbike. Meanwhile, his teammate, who we saw on our screen a few minutes ago, is up to 4th in this session. He was 4th in the race yesterday. He's been 4th basically all weekend.
Just to say as well, I saw a quick glimpse of Sam Lowe's there, fastest man in this session so far after our first couple of laps. Set the second fastest lap in the race yesterday. Really struggled in the first stint with the front tyre and grip on that. But once he came in and changed the tyre, suddenly the bike was energised for him. Suddenly he felt a lot better. He was able to make progress, came through in Darby Agutter, and then came through in Xavi Vierge to come away with the top 10 finish. I thought it was a good sign that last year the lessons have been learned for Sam. He was patient in that first stint, and then whenever the opportunity arose, he was able to ride hard and let the race come back to him.
Actually, Steve, yesterday in the race, there were quite a few of the Ducati teams using the harder front tyre in the race, which you mentioned before throughout the weekend has been a little bit of a struggle for them in the past and at Phillip Island. What changed really for them to be able to go for that option?
Well, it's one of those situations where, when he speaks about Tista in particular, who very rarely likes that harder SC2 front tyre, he said that you can see Toprak there just taking the escape road and able to bail on it. And we've seen that a few times for Toprak so far this weekend, where he's struggled a little bit to get that bike stopped and turned, and he just doesn't have the grip that he wants. And you can see there he just managed to know that he wasn't going to get into the corner and quickly just to take that escape road. But for the Ducatis, it doesn't seem that there's as big of a difference between those two tyres for them here this weekend. I'd be very surprised if we go to Assen in particular and you've got Ducati saying, do you know what, we quite like this harder front tyre, because it's not the tyre that usually that bike is tuned for.
And I was going to mention perhaps it was something to do with temperature, but quite often the World Superbike with those Pirelli tyres, we're talking about the rears as well, when the temperatures seem to rise, a lot of the time it has seemed to be more favourable towards the softer compounds in particular.
I think in terms of what we have here at Phillip Island as well, you've got a very different sort of characteristic. When we go to Europe, you're heavy braking on the entry, it's slow in, fast out. Phillip Island is fast in and fast out, and such a different style of riding. And when all the riders come here, they all love the fact that they've got a very different challenge. It's all about being able to carry that corner speed, fast mid-corner, give yourself those opportunities. Whereas when we go to a lot of our other circuits, it's the opposite of that. So that could be a factor as well, just having that extra stability to the front. But it just comes down to the feel on the track and what you're comfortable with.
So Nicola Buliga moving back to the top of the time sheet, where he's climbed all of this with just 2 minutes on the clock of 1:28.9.
It's a great lap for Buliga again in this session, third or second faster than Alex Lowes and Sam Lowes. But Nagashima deserves a bit of credit there as well. He's just popped up into the top 10 on the Honda Development Team bike, and that bike is quite different actually to the HRC bike. I was down chatting to the team about what their plan and their structure is with this team. And the big thing is that they're developing effectively further road bike to then developing to the next Superbike. And they're trying to figure out what they can do step by step to make the base of this bike ever improving. So it's quite a different package out there compared to what the HRC bikes have.
Actually, Nagashima right now is the top Honda on the timing sheet, showing here is at 15th position. Nicola Crona, of course, declared unfit after a crash yesterday in Superpole, and two MI Petronas riders a bit further down the time sheet. Actually, Zapan Zaidi didn't qualify for yesterday's race. Has been given another opportunity at warm-up to be able to set a lap time. Obviously, you have a 105% minimum lap time compared to the fastest lap in the session to be able to qualify. Right now, he's still not there.
Yeah, he's still 8 tenths of a second off that qualifying time. So unlikely that we'll see Zaidi on the grid. We haven't seen Michael van der Mark come back out during this session as well. So he did his one lap and then came back into the pits. So we'll keep an eye on that for Mikey over the next few hours before the Superpole race.
Yeah, only 33 seconds on the clock now for the number 60 to be able to get back out onto the track and see if everything's working. It doesn't seem like that will be the case so far. So obviously that big crash yesterday, perhaps conditioning everything's going on within the team. But we're getting our final laps now on the clock. Not many riders, of course, improve really their position on the track on the timesheets right now. Only Andrea Locatelli with a fast first sector, but he will remain in 7th position. Locatelli top Yamaha yesterday. There wasn't much competition perhaps before that. And here we've got the number 60 actually.
They're taking it out just to start at the pit lane there. Mikey isn't able to leave the circuit just because of the red flag will be out. But you can see there for the team, they were just trying to make sure that the bike would start. So maybe just a small technical issue there for Van der Mark in this morning's warm-up session. But the good thing is, we've had a lot of running through the course of the week. He knows what the bike can do, and he rode well yesterday. He was in that lead group of that second position down. And for Van der Mark, he was right there with Toprak yesterday.
And he qualified well, which is very big difference to a lot of the sessions that we had last year, particularly at the start of last season with Phillip Island. He was on the 5th, 6th row. Yesterday, he qualified 7th.
Yeah, Mikey last year, he had a lot of crashes in Super Bowl sessions. There was 4 sessions, I think, he had a crash in Super Bowl. The other 8 sessions, he was actually quite competitive. But for Van der Mark, it's about trying to get that clear lap in. Because if you qualify down the field in World Superbikes, you've got no chance of making progress. Now, it's so close out there between all the different teams of riders.
There were a couple of tenths yesterday, basically split positions 6th down to 12 or 13. It's a very, very tight field yesterday in Superbike.
Just looking at Alex Lowe's here, just tagging onto the back top rack as well, and for Lowe's, good consistency in this session. 29.3 his fastest lap, and last time around he was still in the 29s, and now on what will be the end of his 8th lap in the session, he comes across line 29.4 within a tenth of a second. So his delta for 8 laps is a tenth of a second there. He's going to be pretty pleased with that stint. And the temperature's going down, maybe that's helped the motor a little bit find some grip.
We can expect it to go up a little bit though. There's still 2 hours until we get run for the Superpole race, and we saw yesterday the temperatures rose a lot around about midday. Yesterday we did have a very hot wind around the track, which kind of lifted everything up a little bit more. It's not the same now. Track temperatures do seem to, the whole temperature, air temperature seems to have dropped by a few degrees, but still some time.
Yeah, and it will get hotter as the day goes on. What's been good so far, and we touch wood on this one right here, the wind isn't coming in off the land, so it's not that warming, sandy winds that we've had from the desert. It's much more comfortable this morning compared to yesterday, where we had 37 degrees air temperature, but the wind chill was a +7 or 8 compared to what was actually getting the readout. So it felt like it was 45 degrees. It was humid. It was difficult out there yesterday. Everyone struggled, and the same is the case for the riders on the bike.
I must say, the nice air conditions come through the booth right now, but when you walked outside and hit you like stacked bricks, it was extremely hard conditions for everybody yesterday. Right now from midday, actually in Superpole even, it was quite a hard race. It was just quite extraordinary.
You can see Buliga there on the pit entry. A little bit of an endo, so he's pushing hard on that pit entry. Just to understand that as well, you have to make sure you're able to pick a breaking point for pit entry around here, just so that you're able to have that extra confidence coming into the pits that this is what I have to do to be able to gain a little bit of advantage.
We'll see if they do that pit stop practice now for the by Team Ducati. You will see Buliga again on the inside, both riders parallel for their pit stops. They were both in basically at the same time, you have to do the same lap, just 5 seconds. It's off an hour about these things.
Interesting to see for the Richigamme squad. They're using dry weather tyre actually for their team. A lot of the times you see teams use wet tyre, intermediate tyre first, and they're just making sure that they've got everything, all their boxes ticked for Buliga.
To be fair, the number 11 has been so fast he might be able to win on wet tyres on the dry track around here this weekend. He dominates yet another session. In yet another session, he drops into the 128s, the only rider to do so in this 10-minute warm-up session. So it's 0.3 of a second, the gap this time between Buliga and Alex Lowe's on a good motor, slotted into second ahead of another sea of Ducatis and Giannone, Sam Lowe's, Danilo Petrucci completing that top 5. Then it's Razgat on the BMW, and Andrea Locatelli on the Yamaha completing that top 7. A little look further down the field, Garrett Gerloff, after technical issues yesterday, back up into 12 on the only Kawasaki on the grid. Other riders of the cabin prop, yes, Remy Gardner, we haven't seen during this session, down in 17th position. It has been a difficult week for the Yamahas. Lap summary, just 5 laps for Buliga. That 1 minute 30.1, the only non-representative time for him basically all weekend. It's the 128.9, which puts him at the top of the timesheets. 6 laps for Alex Lowe's, all fairly consistent into the mid-129s, except for that 5th lap going up into the 130s. But good pace from the number 22 going into the Super Bowl race. And Andrea Giannone, 5 laps for him, those 3 into the 129s. More representative of the pace expect from the number 29 race later on. Can anyone do battle with this man in the 10-lap Super Bowl race? We'll be live on air, 12:45 local time. It's lights out at 1 p.m. for the Super Bowl race of the Australian round.
somebody who has been here for not so long can pass. So I think, yes, he has some incredible ability. And when we talk to him about the competitive practice, no, for me, you know, it's, you can find something, you can feel the turbulence when you are behind somebody, but that doesn't, you know, that doesn't stop you to be able to pass. And I don't have really great pass. You know, if I can pass, the guy is faster than me, but it's not because of the devices or the arrows. So, no, he's doing everything perfect so far, and with the magic, as I said. It's not a one-rider team. Augusto obviously had his struggles in pre-season. Just how difficult has it been for him? All of the hype, all of the talk, all of the headlines to it out the other side of the box. How is he dealing with all? Thank you for asking. Really, thank you for asking, because okay, when I'm asked question about Pedro, I need to answer about Pedro. But thank you for asking. It was really difficult, you know. All through the winter, you know, testing was difficult, and it's easy to, I don't want to say to give up, but to find the energy, to find the resources of what can I do better, because I'm pushing 100% and I'm still far behind my teammate, especially your teammate. He's the one who can kill you, really. But I have to say that he's really strong mentally. He's worked really hard since, you know, Portimao. And here he's really good, you know. He's certainly second to the top guys. At one stage, you know, we were 1-2 in the beginning of that session. But I think Augusto is coming back. He's much better in terms of feeling with the new bike, the 24 bike. He's much more positive attitude. He came in with more smile and less, you know, long face. So, you know, again, thanks for the question, because everybody GP is a two-riders team, and you can't work properly on one leg. So we need the two legs strong. And I hope, you know, Augusto is going to take what Pedro is doing.
So riders eyeing his sig next season. Joe Roberts, of course, the Californian, who's doing an excellent job so far in Moto2, one name that's been linked with that ride. Fernandez needs a real big weekend and pretty quickly. He was the second quickest Aprilia this morning, of course. The quickest Aprilia was the quickest of the lot. Maverick Vinales was D1 this morning. Mal Fernandez ended this morning's session in 12th, and he's yet to finish a Someday Grand Prix so far this season. Of course, we saw him having problems before the race even began in Qatar, as Marquez doing what he did for a lot this morning, actually, when he was struggling to stop that GP23 Ducati. But Fernandez, who does have reasons to celebrate this weekend, this is his 100th Grand Prix this weekend across all classes for the 25. Guilty of a rookie mistake, he termed it in Portimao. He said he'd been telling his crew chief all weekend. The particular corner he crashed out, but yes, very calm, went offline and then didn't follow his own advice, which saw his Grand Prix come to an early end. Hard to believe, isn't it, with how strong and how good he was, the promise of potential he showed in that Moto2 World Championship campaign, that he comes here. This is MotoGP appearance number 40. He's only ever had one top 6, and that was right to the back end of last season, the 5th place in Valencia. I mean, can't believe that we're saying that, because he was so blooming good, wasn't he? Yet in Moto2, pushing Remy Gardner all the way to the championship battle in 2021. And the present night, he's under the cosh and needs a big result here in Kota this weekend as we pick up Pedro Acosta, who doesn't seem to matter what challenge you put in front of him. He just is able to get on with the job, effortlessly working his way around his Kota circuit. Caught up with a couple of mechanics this morning, and they felt that this would be arguably his biggest test of the season so far. Well, it's cost to the flight cooler. Although it's yesterday, and you really say, oh, why your commentators chose, but hey, I will let him have that one. Yeah, he's exploring the limits, shall we say, so far today. Of course, we did see him running off a little bit this morning. It was a session of 2 halves this morning. He was down the back of the field for the first half of the session, bolted on some new tyres, and was immediately up inside the top 3 is the rear. Snakes left, snakes right, as he tries to get it stopped from the thick end of 300 kilometers an hour down that back straight down to around about 60 k's for the first gear, turn 12, and unfortunately he was nowhere near the apex at that time, but he's not the first, he won't be the last to make a mistake through there. There are so many big braking stops around this Kota layout. This is another of them into turn 1, while we've already seen Marc Marquez run wide earlier on into turn 11 and into 12. Huge heavy braking zones Well, of course, you need that braking stability, which is why generally riders favour the harder front tyre around here. Yeah, when you see those hard braking zones, you know that Kevin Schwantz had some influence in the design of this COTA circuit. Great to see so many American legends gathered here this weekend. Teddy Roberts, of course, the critical 500cc world champion in the late 70s, famous for his unbelievable battles with Barry Sheene. Wayne Rainey's here, of course, trying to unearth the future American talents as the boss of Motor America. Kevin Schwantz is here, the 1993 500cc world champion. And just on that note, actually, we send our thoughts, our prayers and condolences to the family and friends of Pat Hedden, who sadly passed away recently. The first American rider to win a Premier Class Grand Prix. He was in many respects one of the trailblazers, one of such a golden generation of American talent. But great to see the likes of Kenny Roberts, Wayne Rainey and Kevin Schwantz here, with three names that are right up there with proper ultimate legends in this great sport. We should also, while we're talking about that, just send our best wishes to a couple of former MotoGP riders who've been in the wars recently. Danilo Petrucci, of course, is in World Superbikes nowadays, had a big motocross crash which has left him rather second-hand. And Andrea Dovizioso too, who was certainly showing no signs of slowing down on a motocross track, and he had a pretty high-speed get-up as well on his motocross machine earlier on this week, which saw him out to be early pitossed. But fortunately as well, he is also on the mend, so we wish him well. Marquez once again there, nowhere near the racetrack there, this time to turn 19. Marquez running on, so this lap time won't count for anything. Much like we saw this morning, a slightly scruffy start to the session for King of COTA. My promise at the start for another former COTA winner here, Andrea Bastianini, on the 23 Ducati Live team machine. And that is already rapid in this early fire practice, down to a 2:04.25A. And Pedro Acosta is the first rider in the 203s left, joined immediately by the likes of Martin, Sparger, Fernandez, Augusto Fernandez, and Jack Miller. Martina now leads at El Yom with a 2:03.036. We're already inside the lap times that we saw this morning from Maverick Vinales to the 2:03.2. Aleix Espargaro, that's a significant jump on what we saw from him this morning. He was very quiet session for Aleix on the 41. He didn't do anything better than a 2:04.8 this morning. He's already the second 0.2 quicker than that this afternoon. So Martin, the man that's chasing the championship, the man they're chasing here near the part of this practice session here in COTA under some glorious spring sunshine and almost perfect conditions with Grand Prix motorcycle racing, of course, tomorrow at 3 p.m. local time. The T-Soul Sprint will be underway, 10 laps. Then the full distance Grand Prix here on Sunday, over 20 laps.
Yes, that's true of Trinity boss Massimo Rivoli. At the moment, Aleix Espargaro, you have to say, very non-committal about his plans beyond 2024. It does seem that if he does decide to hang up his head as a race rider, well, he'll have an open door. Right, continue to become a brilliant test and development rider. That could be important as well, to tap into Aleix's experience, given there's all kinds of strong rumours that there will be a significant technical change, a engine capacity change, when the rules will, or new rules will be implemented in the 2027 MotoGP World Championship. Aleix, I think, just giving himself 3 or 4 more Grand Prix just to see whether the hunger, the desire is still there. I mean, he's 34 years of age now, Aleix. He's the oldest statesman of this MotoGP World Championship. This weekend is his 324th Grand Prix start. He's made so many sacrifices. He's certainly put in the hard yards, Lewis. You do wonder whether Aleix, being so non-committed as he is right now, whether he is actually sort of starting to seriously contemplate maybe the R word, retirement. Yeah, I guess ultimately it will all come down to how competitive Aleix Espargaro is. For so many of these riders, the enjoyment comes from winning. The enjoyment comes from being competitive, and Aleix Espargaro isn't. I guess that will make the decision for him. Of course, he's been put in the shade a little bit recently by Maverick Vinales. It's so easy to forget, there's just a couple of rounds to go. The first race of the season, so many of us arrived at the sales circuit on the Sunday of Qatar, fully tipping Aleix Espargaro for victory that weekend, that afternoon, and it all went wrong in the race itself. The last 5 times now, Aleix Espargaro has finished the Grand Prix. He's finished down in 8th place, and has been in the top 6 since Pategi of last season. So that's the kind of streak that Aleix Espargaro's going to have to try and snap out of if he can. There's no question how high in esteem Aprilia holds Aleix Espargaro in. They love him to bits down at that Noale factory. He's been such an integral part of their rise from also rounds, wooden spoon merchants in MotoGP half a decade or so ago to now being genuine race victory and title contenders. I guess from Aleix Espargaro's point of view, it's just how much more gas is there in the tank. It's a training regime coming into this 2024 season, which certainly isn't the kind of thing you do when you're winding your career down. But I guess Aleix Espargaro, the longer this season goes on, particularly if he's not able to extract the maximum out of a Aprilia, he may have a decision to make. He said pre-season his future is in his hands. It will be all down to speed and results. And whether, of course, Aprilia want to keep him or whether they'll feel like they need to move in a different direction, maybe bringing on some younger talent on board. What is not up for debate is that Aprilia will somehow keep Aleix Espargaro in the fold in that test and development rider role, which is a role his brother's fulfilling very well at the moment at K2. I think Aleix Espargaro was in Jerez, wasn't he, early this week before he hopped on the plane across the Atlantic to carry out his latest duties as what told us a phenomenal pundit and analyst at our Spanish colleague Dazar. I actually saw Colin here at the press conference, so you're doing a few interviews. So he's still doing a sterling job behind the scenes for KTM. Joan Zarco on the motorcycle with the team that won this very Grand Prix here 1 year ago when Alex Rins was sat on top of the LCR Honda. It's a really, really good weekend actually for LCR last year because Rins was second to Bagnaia in the T-Show sprint as well. Talking about Pecco Bagnaia and the factory Ducati team, let's see how they're faring so far here in Kota. Former kind of winner now, Bastiani's fourth, one place out of Bagnaia in fifth place. Let's get some thoughts of how Gassini, the Ducati team was. Who is with Jack Dillon? Yeah, certainly his first opportunity to get the chance, for me anyway, to chat with Mauro, and a pleasure to do so. What a start to 2024. It's certainly not been easy for you stepping in. You've already signed Pecco, you've got his teammate to sort out, you've got Pramac and VR46 deals to sort out, and then last time out, Pecco and Mark coming together. A busy start to 2024. How have you found it all? Yeah, I mean, as big as it is, because, you know, I started working at Ducati 20 years ago. So I perfectly understand the situation from the marketing point of view, but the sporting point of view is not so easy. So I'm still learning, I'm still watching around. That's why to do my best at this moment. Let's try and cover off some of the hot topics then. World Championship leader is on a Ducati at the moment, Jorge Martin. It's been so impressive with victory last time out. How much have you been pleased to see him riding in the manner that he is? I mean, Jorge is a champion. He showed us a lot of several times last year. This year, the start as we finish last year. So he's a champion, not surprised, honestly speaking. In terms of the incident between Mark and Pecco, what have you done after that incident to try and make sure we don't see something similar happening again? I mean, very easy. I sent both of them a message, one Tuesday, I can't remember. Just, hey guys, everything's under control. Pico and Mark's actually like, yes, there's everything under control, looking for Kota. So positive, very positive. That's good to hear. Already there's a lot of talk, not only about the rider market, but in terms of which teams are going to be running which bikes at the moment for the next year. Sorry, VR46 and Pramac both have their contracts ending with Ducati at the end of this current season. What's the latest update on the negotiations with both of them? Yeah, we have some team
Hockenheim and Silverstone as well. Sector 1, very much reminiscent of Marquez and Bagnaia, isn't it, at Silverstone? As we tick up Vinales, this is right at the top end of the circuit. The bottom gear, turn 11, crucial there now to get good drive, get good acceleration grip as you power now down this long back straight, 1.2 kilometers in length, which makes it the longest straight on the Grand Prix calendar. Over that little crest, which can stay unsettle the bike in the braking zone. So nice and clean this by Vinales. Good lap as well coming in from Maverick. Out on some fresh Michelin rubber there. Brand new medium front, medium rear at the start of the session. Yeah, because Vinales is one of those who did go for new rubber early on this morning in free practice. Although, of course, if you're familiar with MotoGP, you'll know that session this morning did not count towards qualifying. Solely this 60-minute practice session will determine who moves through into qualifying 2. Maverick Vinales running just ahead of Pedro Acosta on circuit. Both on target to improve at the moment. Almost certainly the final 15 to 20 minutes as well. We'll expect the fireworks in this practice session as Vinales now approaches the final corner. Of course, we have seen him challenge at the front here at Cota before. Of course, famously, he was on the crutched him a wave in early 2017. He was challenging Marquez, but crashed out of that, leaving back. He's up in the second place in these early stakes on 203.1. That's a 10th quicker than he went this morning. It was right here in Coach, and it's just his second Moto2 start back in 2014 where he dominated that Grand Prix, and having set the fastest lap on his Moto2 debut in Qatar. It was those two performances which immediately caught the eye of then Suzuki Team Moss, Davide Brevia, and it's like, yeah, these are man, absolutely no question whatsoever. And Vinales was taken after just one season in Moto2 into the factory Suzuki pole for the 2016 season, wasn't it? And with that we go, Pecco Bagnaia out of the final corner, winds the power on the factory Ducati up to 5th place, treating him towards the low 203s. The all-time lap record holder here around Cota, Bagnaia, on his way to that pole here last year, which looked like being a catalyst to another dream double. He got half a job done when he won the Tito Sprint, and then properly fluffed his lines right here when he dubbed the factory Ducati when he was 2.5 seconds clear of Alex Finn. And there was that rather strange analogy where he said, well, the Ducati's almost too good. You don't gain sort of warning about when you're going to actually lose control. And it certainly raised a few eyebrows at a post-race statement last year. Only know many riders playing the violin for Pecco. When he said that, many riders would have happily swapped for the too good motorcycle that Pecco Bagnaia eventually took to the World Championship. Of course, that's been a bit of a feature for Pecco Bagnaia on occasions over the years, making mistakes when arguably he's not under pressure. It feels like when the pressure's at its highest, that's when Pecco Bagnaia is at his best, as he proved late last season in battle for the World Championship. So many of the incidents and crashes Bagnaia say in Grand Prix have been when he's in rather unchallenged positions. The unchallenged lead he had here last year was in a race 6 second place in Argentina last year when he crashed, 6 second in India when he went down, and he looked like he had the sprint under control in Portimao too when he made that mistake. So Bagnaia will be keen to iron out those mistakes, because it's very clear already after just 2 rounds of 2024 that Jorge Martin is not going to leave many points out there to be snatched by the rest of them. Bounce back ability is what Bagnaia needs here this weekend, and he has delivered in the past. He's not normally a rider that dwells too long on setbacks. If you look at his most recent DNFs, his powers of recovery have been pretty amazing. Immediately after his last 9 DNFs, he's then gone on to win the very next Grand Prix on 5 occasions and be on the podium in 2 others. So if the omens are to be proven right here this weekend, Bagnaia will bounce back strongly from the setback, shall we say, of his decision to engage with this spam down at turn 5 late on in that Portimao Grand Prix, which has certainly got MotoGP trending all the way around the world on that social media. You do feel that that was just a little bit of an appetizer for what's to come over the remaining many, 20 races, 90 races in 2024. Fair to say, it divided opinion, didn't it? The Marquez and Bagnaia bust up in Portimao, and as you say, it feels like the science is to come, because you can't imagine Marquez is going to get much weaker from here. He will surely only get stronger as he adapts to the Ducati GP23 and shakes off some of those old Honda habits. And likewise, you'd imagine that the Ducati GP24 will just get stronger as the year goes on, as the current spec machine does tend to extend his advantage over the year-old bike as we go through a season. But Marquez is Marquez. He's a phenomenal talent. Of course, 8 times world champion and chasing an 8th victory here at the circuit of the Americas. Of course, he's not tasted victory here since 2021. And Marquez, I guess likewise, has a score for settled with this circuit of the Americas. Of course, he missed the opportunity to compete here last year. Getting quite acquainted with that P1 in MotoGP right now as it is your man Jorge Martin, who flings the Prima Puma Ducati through the high-speed turn 18, the right-hander that completes 3 rights, finishing the final sector. You'll then bank your left 390 now to the final corner 20. Another lap that's right on the money here for Martin. The man, good look at that medium from soft rear tyres. Another low 203 from the Spanish rider.
First corner, which is right at the top of that brow. It sort of flattens out the gradient as you reach that first corner, and it's sort of a tricky first corner to get right at the start of the Grand Prix. So many different lines available gets through there. Marquez, who knows the fastest line through just about every single corner of this PB Americas. 6th at the moment for Marquez, 2:03.175 for him. He's improved by a thick end of a second than what we saw from him earlier on this morning. What about our most recent race winner here in coach, Alex Rins, last year? Still trying to understand what he needs to get the best out of himself and the new factory Yamaha. Alex at the moment down in 17th place. He's currently actually in the pits right now. Best of 2:03.991. And there's some rather interesting news that's breaking here right now at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Some of our colleagues at motorsport.com have an interview with Lynn Jarvis where it seems that Lynn Jarvis has confirmed that 2024 will be his farewell in the MotoGP World Championship, of course, fresh off the back of retaining Fabio Quartararo for 2025 and 2026. That was one of Lynn Jarvis's final accomplishments at Yamaha. It wasn't a bad bit of business, was it? So Lynn Jarvis, it seems, deciding to step aside and some ventures in the future, whatever it is next in line for him. He's been such a stalwart, such a loyal servant to Yamaha. We wish him well in his new endeavours. Quarter of a century at the helm of Yamaha. It's been quite the story, hasn't it? So much success over the years for Yamaha, of course, and much of it with Valentino Rossi on board. Of course, Jorge Lorenzo and Fabio Quartararo have also registered world championships for the Yamaha brand. They're a long way from that at the moment, and they're rowing back towards the front. A key part of that was securing the services of Fabio Quartararo. As much as we talk about improving motorcycles, there's arguably no better tuning pile than a fast rider on top of it, and there are very few faster than Fabio Quartararo, although of course this might be one of the circuits where he might have his work cut out to be top Yamaha, of course, with the record of Alex Rins that you alluded to, twice already in MotoGP and winning all three classes of racing here for the Circuit of the Americas is Alex Rins. So you might want to give Fabio Quartararo a hurry up this weekend, but Quartararo, of course, locked in for the next in the World Championship at the moment. Actually, he's in third. Of course, that pole position in Forza Alvacine backed up with a second place in the race itself. 21-point top Pro World Championship leader Jorge Martin. Of course, the story back in the last season was that Martin, knowing that if he won the World Championship, it was going to be the key to unlock a spot in the factory team. Well, of course, Ducati haven't got that luxury this year, so waiting to see how the World Championship plays out before they identify Pecco Bagnaia's team. And of course, we know Bagnaia's going right now, as before the season began. Ducati have been in this position in the past, haven't they? In the years when Jorge Lorenzo rode for the team, and of course, Daniel Petrucci too. I'm trying to make a decision midway through the season regarding their long-term future within the factory squad, and timing that decision correctly and identifying the right candidate is not going to be necessarily easy for Ducati, because there are no shortage of candidates who would quite happily jump on that bike alongside Bagnaia. It's not just a two-horse race here at the rodeo, is it? Between the Beast and Martin, you have to factor in a certain Mr. Marquez on the 93 machine, who certainly has factory aspirations of his own inside the Gas Tech 3 garage, where we will find the superstar in the making. No question, Pedro across the top three this morning. At the moment, sitting in fourth place, getting himself very familiar very quickly with the demands, the unique demands and challenges of this county circuit. Since that French turn 12. The top speed so far this weekend has gone to Brad Binder, 350.6 kilometres. Second on the speed chart is actually Acosta, 346.1k. So that shot there was an example of what it's like for him to break from about 345, 350 kilometres an hour down to 60 kilometres an hour for that first gear turn 12. And he's making it look so easy, isn't he? Which the same car, the same unfortunate for Fabio Antonio, who gets it all wrong. It's Gian Antonio, who's currently in 9th place in the UFA's speed track chart, top 3 in the speed charts are all factory KTMs. Brad Binder, Pedro Acosta and Jack Miller all rapid through there as we look at Joan Mir on the Repsol Honda, looking to lift himself out of the bottom end of the top 20. That KTM for proper rocket ship. They have 3 of the top 4 speeds on the opening Grand Prix weekend in Qatar. Now that long start finished right in the sales, so they've found some proper ponies, haven't they, this year? Back in Martin Hoffman in Austria. Here is Mir at the moment, languishing down in 20th place. This should be a fairly significant improvement on his own personal best time of the weekend so far. It is indeed a big spot. Smears the fringes up that all-important top 10 thanks to a 2:03.504. His teammate Luca Marini, first ever MotoGP podium here last year, of course, when he was a Mini VR46 Ducati rider. Unfortunately, Luca Marini marooned at the back of the pack once again. Not able to find himself in the 203s right now. There he is on screens, being shadowed by HRC team manager Alberto Puig. Just under 1.5 seconds back right now, Martin is Luca Marini. But we wondered whether there was some green shoots of recovery from Marini this morning, when he was actually
sticking on this man tomorrow, the Tissot Sprint, because his amazing record continues. His podium is in the last 10 sprints from Way Martin. He's not been off the sprint podium since he was 5th in Catalunya, which does feel like an awful long time ago now. And including in those 10 podiums are 8 wins. He loves the good old Super Saturday, doesn't he? Jorge Martin. Will he enjoy Super Saturday stateside here in Kotek tomorrow? At the moment, he's doing a bit of a maneuver roll check to the top of MotoGP, leader of the championship, and leader here on day 1 in Kota. As we discussed earlier on this morning, I think he'll be more than happy for Marquez and Bagnaia to dominate the headlines by running into each other, or for Pedro Acosta to enjoy the limelight, which he's earned, make no mistake about it. But Jorge Martin will be quite happy to just fly under the radar if it means picking up more valuable World Championship points. Of course, he's the only rider after 2 rounds who's been on the podium in every single race and sprint we've seen so far this season. A couple of third places, bookended by that sprint win in Qatar and the Grand Prix win in Portimao. He's got a level of consistency and maturity that you could argue, even as recently as a year ago, Jorge Martin did not have. Yeah, 26 years of age now. He's coming into his prime, you may feel. Jorge Martin, certainly some good years ahead of him if he can stay fit and healthy. Maverick Vinales, fastest man this morning. At the moment, in second place. Let's have a look at Vinales through this breathtaking turn 10. Real spectacular part of this circuit. The Americas from fourth gear, from 250, 260 kilometers an hour. The eyes will be on stalks coming through here. It's very easy as well to get the bike unsettled, unload the suspension, and then ride the rodeo. It's perfectly executed that though by Maverick Vinales, who really does look at one, doesn't he? At the moment with that factory of brilliant man and machine working in perfect harmony right now. So harsh, wasn't it, for Maverick to have the gearbox issue late on in Portimao. 20 points. It's a heavy blow to take in terms of the championship, and just for your morale as well. I mean, I suppose the consolation of Vinales was he was there all weekend in Portimao. Had great speed in both the sprint and the Grand Prix. Great speed as well in qualifying. Just a shame that it was that gearbox issue which really stopped him from being one of his best weekends in his Aprilia career. He's done pretty much everything right, hadn't he, up to that point. And as good a ride as it looked at the time, it was even better ride when we found out later on when he was grappling with during the race that he had those gearbox problems from very early on in the race. Every time he shifted from 5th to 6th gear, Vinales was encountering problems with the gearbox and that Aprilia. We talked about the end of his race on the very last lap when he was on target for second place. But Vinales certainly won't be a contender this weekend for some pre-weekend thoughts from Aprilia. We can catch a word now with Massimo Roland, who's a bit late with check up. We are take that to you. Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon to Massimo as well as the guys in the box. We're just saying things have started pretty well for Maverick. Before we speak about the big news coming into the weekend, Fabio's renewal at Yamaha and your thoughts and how much it really will involve on Maverick. How great it will see you. Yo, with so much confidence it seems at the moment. Let it go through Maverick. Let's hope that also on Asia get the same pace. Legal din Fabio, I don't have much really to comment. Was a Yamaha rider and would be a Yamaha rider for. As I always say, priority for us is the bike. We go to buy as much as we can in order to be we more powerful on the market. We get a rider inside Pico. He say me that. I already told this what the Malaysian market would do the Harsha. Very easy way. I already agree would be also to see what that was like with the riders and see what can we maybe choose out together with us. And then we go to option 4, 5, and 6. But obviously, when you have a super talented like Fabio or other super talented that can grasp the situation of a full age, I want them to listen and understand if there is a chance to promote them. So it's nothing strange, I would say. I'm not surprised that they stay there. So that's it. Alex, I was speaking to the media yesterday and was saying that he wasn't aware if there was a concrete offer there for Fabio from Aprilia. Was there an offer on the table that the media reporting that 12 million euros he signed for, whereas Aprilia were only offering 4? Was the offer there for him? Well, not at all. When we speak riders, we gave a sort of understanding on what would be the condition in case of
Top Honda, we big crash earlier on a 2044. He's not really been able to go any quicker than that so far this afternoon. So it's plateaued a little bit so far over the course of the day. The other Hondas relative to me are all towards the back of the field line. Zarco down in 17, Takayama on the 21st, and Richigamme at the back of the field. Of course, it was in this session, I think we qualified through Israel Portimao, and the 4 Hondas were occupying the bottom 4 spots on the grid. Just when you think it can't get worse for them, it gets worse. But they'll be hoping that there are some signs of light here. It'll be quite interesting when you look at the speed charts here in Kota. The Ducati GP23s at second, Marquez and Antonio are right at the bottom. They're the thick end of about sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 pointers behind some of the other cycles here. I'm sure I didn't really think the GP24 late to check a massive effort. But yeah, Antonio is exactly 10k slower than Binder down the straight. So well, let's head down to pit lane. There's so much talk about Pedro Acosta these days in MotoGP. The star rookie, of course, taking that podium finish in Portimao. We've got the best person to talk about Pedro Acosta. It's his team boss, Javier Poncharal, who joins you. Absolutely great chance to chat with her. First of all, wish him a happy birthday from earlier on this week. It was well celebrated, given the fact that we've now got another rider to have taken a Tech-1 MotoGP machine to a podium finish. Did you expect it to happen that quickly then? No, honestly no. And but regard I'm talking to you, I don't know which word to use. I don't know how to express the feeling we are all having, because it's for sure much better than what everybody was expecting. And if somebody's telling you that they knew what they're always going to do for the 2 first races, I think he's a liar or a dreamer. And now it's fantastic. The race in Portugal was clearly unbelievable. The pace, the strategy, the cool hand he managed to have. When you're a rookie and you're fighting with Pecco Marquez, very often you can be fast, but also sometimes you make big mistake, rookie mistake. And so far, and I touch wood telling you that we don't do so many mistakes, and I really don't know what to expect here, because Kota is a very special track. He told us I like it with the Moto2 bike. I had a good feeling, but with the MotoGP bike, it's always a different world. Well, this morning, after 2-3 laps, it was P1, so we keep on dreaming. I don't know exactly how to explain, because what is happening is not normal. When you have Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Pablo Quartaro, and all the top guys there, who've been for quite a few seasons on a MotoGP bike, who race here in Austin, which is a tough track to understand and to learn. These guys doing things that you can't explain, so I don't believe in magic, but there is a little bit of magic still. And now I start to believe in magic. His ability to overtake is the thing that has, I think, surprised everybody watching on screen. Just the ease he's able to go past the likes of Pecco Bagnaia and Marquez, which are riders not easy to pass. And yesterday I had a few interviews with American journalists that were all telling you the same thing, too much electronic, too much device, too many devices, too much aero, you can't pass anymore. I said, did you watch the race in Qatar? Did you watch the race in Portimao? Somebody who has been here for not so long can pass, so I think, yes, he has some incredible ability. And when we talked to him about the difficulty to pass, he said, no, for me, you can find something. You can feel the turbulence when you are behind somebody, but that doesn't, you know, that doesn't stop you to be able to pass. And I don't have any great problem to pass. You know, if I can pass, it's because the guy is faster than me, but it's not because of the devices or the aero. So guys doing everything perfect so far, and a bit of magic, as I said. It's not a one-rider team. Augusta obviously had his struggles in pre-season. Just how difficult has it been for him with all of the hype, all of the talk, all of the headlines to him now the other side of the box? How is he dealing with all that? Thank you for asking. Really, thank you for asking, because, okay, when I'm asked question about Pedro, I need to answer about Pedro, but thank you for asking. It was really difficult, you know. All through the winter, you know, testing was difficult, and it's easy to, I don't want to say to give up, but to find the energy, to find the resources of what can I do better, because I'm pushing 100% and I'm still far behind my teammate, especially your teammate is the one who can tune you, really. But I have to say that he's really strong mentally. He's worked really hard since, you know, Portimao, and here he's really good, you know. He's third and the second to the top guys. At one stage, you know, we were 1-2 in the beginning of that session, but I think Augusto is coming back. He's much better in terms of fitting with the new bike, the 24 bike. He's much more positive attitude. He came here with more smile and less, you know, long face. So, you know, again, thanks for the question, because every MotoGP team is a two-riders team, and we can't work properly on one leg. So we need the two legs strong. And I hope, you know, Augusto is going to take what Pedro is doing.
So riders eyeing his seat next season. Joe Roberts, of course, the Californian, who's doing an excellent job so far in Moto2. One name has been linked with that ride. Fernandez needs a real big weekend, and pretty quickly. He was the second quickest Aprilia this morning. Of course, the quickest Aprilia was the quickest of the lot. Maverick Vinales was T1 this morning. Mal Fernandez ended this morning's session in 12, but he's yet to finish a Sunday Grand Prix so far this season. Of course, we saw him having problems before the race even began in Qatar, as Marquez doing what he did for a lot this morning, actually, when he was struggling to stop that GP23 Ducati. But Fernandez, who does have reasons to celebrate this weekend, this is his 100th Grand Prix this weekend across all classes for the 25. Guilty of a rookie mistake, he termed it in Portimao. He said he'd been telling his crew chief all weekend. The particular corner he crashed out, the very calm, went offline and then didn't follow his own advice, which saw his Grand Prix come to an early end. Hard to believe, isn't it? But how strong and how good he was, the promise he would actually show in that Moto2 World Championship campaign. But he comes here. This is MotoGP appearance number 40. He's only ever had one top 6, and that was right at the back end of last season, a 5th place in Valencia. I mean, can't believe that we're saying that, because he was so gleaming good, wasn't he? Yet the Moto2 pushing Remy Gardner all the way to the championship battle in 2021. And the present night, he's under the cosh and needs a big result here in Kota this weekend as we pick up Pedro Acosta, who doesn't seem to matter what challenge you put in front of him. He just is able to get on with the job, effortlessly working his way around his coach circles. Caught up with a couple of mechanics this morning, and they felt that this would be arguably his biggest test of the season so far. Well, he's passed to the flight cooler. Although as yesterday, you know, you really just say, oh, why you commentate this choice, but hey, I will let him have that one. Yeah, he's exploring the limits, shall we say, so far today. Of course, we did see him running off a little bit this morning. It was a session of 2 halves this morning. He was down the back of the field for the first half of the session, bolting on some new tyres, was immediately up inside the top rears, the rear snakes left, snakes right, as he tries to get it stopped from the thick end of 300 kilometers an hour down that back straight down to right about 60 k's for the first gear turn 12, and unfortunately he was nowhere near the apex that time, but he's not the first, he won't be the last to make the mistake through there. There are so many big braking stops around this Kota layout. This is another thing to turn 1. We've already seen Marquez run wide earlier on into 10, 11 and into 12. Huge heavy braking zones where of course you need that braking stability, which is why generally riders favour the harder front tyre around here. Yeah, when you see those hard braking zones, you know that Kevin Schwantz had some influence in the design of this Kota circuit. Great to see so many American legends gathered here this weekend. Teddy Roberts, of course, the triple 500cc world champion in the late 70s, famous for his unbelievable battles with Barry Sheene. Wayne Brady's here, of course, trying to unearth the future of American talents as the boss of Motor America. Kevin Schwantz is here, the 1993 500cc world champion. And just on that night, actually, we send our thoughts, our prayers and condolences to the family and friends of Pat Hedden, who sadly passed away recently. The first American rider to win a Premier Class Grand Prix. He was in many respects one of the trailblazers, one for such a golden generation of American talent. But great to see the likes of Kenny Roberts, Wayne Rainey and Kevin Schwantz here, with three names that are right up there with proper ultimate legends in this great sport. We should also, while we're talking about that, just send our best wishes to a couple of former MotoGP riders who've been in the wars recently. Danilo Petrucci, of course, is in World Superbikes nowadays, had a big motocross crash which has left him rather second-hand. And Andrea Dovizioso too, who has certainly shown no signs of slowing down on a motocross track, but he had a pretty high-speed get-up as well on his motocross machine earlier on this week, which saw him out to be airly catastrophic. But fortunately as well, he is also on the mend, so we wish him well. Marquez once again there, nowhere near the racetrack there, this time to turn 19. Marquez running on, so this lap time won't count for anything. Much like we saw this morning, it's like a scruffy start to the session for King of Kota. My problems at the start for another former Kaito winner here, Enea Bastianini on the 23 Ducati Omega team machine. And that is already rapid in this early part of practice, down to a 2:04.25. And Pedro Acosta is the first rider in the 283s, definitely joined immediately by the likes of Martin, Sparger, Fernandez, Augusto Fernandez, and Jack Miller. Martina now leads at Lyon with a 2:03.036. We're already inside the lap times that we saw this morning from Maverick Vinales to the 2:03.2. Elijah Sparger, that's a significant jump on what we saw from him this morning. He was very quiet session for LA number 41. He didn't do anything better than a 2:04.8 this morning. He's already the second 0.2 quicker than that this afternoon. So Martin, the man that's chasing the championship, the man they're chasing here near the part of this practice session here in Kota, under some glorious spring sunshine and almost perfect conditions. The Grand Prix motorcycle racing, of course, tomorrow at 3 p.m. local time. The Tissot Sprint will be underway. 10 laps. Then the full distance Grand Prix here on Sunday, over 20 laps.
Yes, thanks, Jack. Thanks to Aprilia boss, Massimo Rivoli. At the moment, Elijah Sparger, you have to say, very non-committal about his plans beyond 2024. It does seem that if he does decide to hang up his headers as a race rider, well, he'll have an open door. Particularly to become a 3 years test and development rider. That could be important as well to tap into a race experience, given there's all kinds of strong rumours that there will be a significant temperature change, a capacity, engine capacity change when the rules will, or new rules will be implemented in the 2027 MotoGP World Championship. Elijah, I think, just giving himself 3 or 4 more Grand Prix just to see whether the hunger, the desire is still there. He's 34 years of age now, Elijah. He's the oldest statesman of this MotoGP World Championship. This weekend is his 324th Grand Prix start. He's made so many sacrifices. He's certainly put in the hard yards, Lewis. But you do wonder whether LA's being so non-committed as he is right now, whether he is actually sort of starting to seriously contemplate maybe the R word, the time. Yeah, I guess ultimately it will all come down to how competitive Elijah Sparger is. For so many of these riders, the enjoyment comes from winning. The enjoyment comes from being competitive, and Elijah Sparger isn't. I guess that will make the decision for him. Of course, he's put in the shade a little bit recently by Maverick Vinales. It's so easy to forget. There's just a couple of rounds to go. The first race of the season, so many of us arrived at the sales circuit on the Sunday of Qatar, fully tipping Elijah Sparger for victory that weekend. Afternoon, it all went wrong in the race itself. The last 5 times now, Elijah Sparger has finished the Grand Prix. He's finished now in 8th place. He has been in the top 6 since the taking of last season. So that's the kind of streak that Elijah Sparger has to try and snap out of if he can. There's no question how high in esteem Aprilia holds Elijah Sparger in. They love him to beat down in that line factory. He's been such an integral part of their rides from also around wooden spoon merchants in MotoGP about a decade or so ago to now being genuine race victory and title contenders. Change the training regime coming into this 2024 season, which certainly isn't the kind of thing you do when you're winding your career down. But I guess Elijah Spargo, the longer this season goes on, particularly if he's not able to extract the maximum out of it, he may have a decision to make. He said pre-season his future is in his hands. It will be all down to speed and results. And well, of course, for what's keeping them, whether they all feel like they need to move in a different direction, maybe bringing on some younger talent on board. What is not up for debate is that Aprilia will somehow keep Elijah Spargo in the fold in that test and development rider role, which is a role his brothers fulfilling very well at the moment. Occasionally, I think Paul Spargo was in Jerez, wasn't he, early this week before he hopped on the plane across the Atlantic to carry out his latest duties as what told us a phenomenal pundit and analyst at Spanish colleague Dazai. I actually saw Paul near the press conference, so he had a few interviews. So he's still doing his sterling job behind the scenes for KTM. John Zarco on the motorcycle with the team that won this very Grand Prix here 1 year ago when Alex Rins was sat on top of the LCR Honda. It's a really, really good weekend actually for LCR last year because Rins was set to Bagnaia in the Tissot sprint as well. Talking about Pecco Bagnaia and the factory team, let's see how they're faring so far here in Kota. Former kind of winner now has TV fourth. What place out of Bagnaia in fifth place with some forms of Augustine the Ducati team was. Who is with Jackson? Yeah, certainly it's the best opportunity to get the chance, for me anyway, to chat with Mauro, and a pleasure to do so. What a start to 2024. It's certainly not been easy for you stepping in. You've already signed Pecco, you've got his teammate to sort out, you've got Pramac and VR 46 years to sort out, and then last time out, Pecco and Mark coming together. A busy start to 2024. How have you found it all? Yeah, I mean, it's big as not easy because, you know, I was so working with Ducati 20 years ago. So I perfectly understand the situation for the marketing point of view, but the watch sporting point of view is not so easy. So I'm still learning, I'm still watching around, and so I'm doing my best in this moment. Let's try and cover up some of the hot topics now. World Championship leader is on the Ducati at the moment. Paul Heymart's team has been so impressive with victory last time out. How much have you been pleased to see him riding in the manner that he is? I mean, Jorge is a champion. He showed us several times last year. This year, the start was with Future Steel. So, as the champions, not surprised, honestly speaking. In terms of the incident between Mark and Pecco, what have you done after that incident to try and make sure we don't see something similar happening again? I mean, very easy. I sent both of them a message on Tuesday. Just, hey guys, everything under control. People and Max, actually like, yes, there's everything under control, looking forward, so positive, very positive. That's good to hear. Already there's a lot of talk, not only about the rider market, but in terms of which teams are going to be winning which bikes at the moment. For the next year, VR 46 and Pramac both have their contracts ended with Ducati at the end of this current season. What's the latest update on the negotiations with both of them? Yeah, we have some table
Park, Hockenheim, and Silverstone as well. Sector 1, very much reminiscent of Marquez and Bagnaia, isn't it, at Silverstone? As we kick up Vinales, this is right at the top end of the circuit. The bottom gear, turn 11, crucial there now to get good drive, get good acceleration grip as you power now down this long back straight, 1.2 kilometers in length, which makes it the longest straight on the Grand Prix calendar. Over that little crest, which can stay on set on the bike in the braking zone. It's all nice and clean, this by Vinales. Good lap as well coming in from Maverick. Now some fresh mixture of rubber there, brand new medium front, medium rear at the start of this session. Because Vinales is one of those who did go for new rubber earlier on this morning in free practice. Although, of course, if you're familiar with MotoGP, you'll know that that session this morning did not count towards qualifying. Solely this 60-minute practice session will determine who moves through into qualifying 2. Maverick Vinales running just ahead of Pedro Acosta on circuit. Both on target to improve at the moment. Almost certainly the final 15 to 20 minutes as well. We'll expect the fireworks in this practice session as Vinales now approaches the final corner. Of course, we have seen him challenge at the front here at Kota before. Of course, famously he's on the crushed him away in early 2017. He was challenging Marquez, but crashed out about leading batteries. Up in the second place in these early states on 2 or 3.1. Meant to 10 quicker than he went this morning. It was right here in Coach, and it's just his second Moto2 start back in 2014 where he dominated that Grand Prix, having set the fastest lap on his Moto2 debut in Qatar. It was those two performances which immediately caught the eye of then Suzuki team boss Davide Brevillard. It's like, yeah, he's our man, absolutely no question whatsoever. And Vinales was taken up with this one season in Moto2 into the factory Suzuki pole for the 2016 season, wasn't it? And there we go, Pecco Bagnaia out of the final corner. Winds the power on the factory Ducati up to 5th place, creeping him up towards the low 203s. The all-time lap record holder here around Kota, Bagnaia, on his way through that toll here last year, which looked like being a catalyst to another dream double. He got half a job done when he won the Tito sprint and then properly fluffed his lines right here when he dubbed the factory Ducati when he was 2.5 seconds clear on the string. And there was that rather strange analogy where he said, well, the Ducati's almost too good. You don't get any sort of warning about when you can actually lose control. And it slowly raised a few eyebrows at a post-race statement last year. Only know many riders playing the violin for Pecco. When he said that, he many riders would have happily swapped for the true good motorcycle that Pecco Bagnaia eventually took to the World Championship. Of course, that's been a bit of a feature of Pecco Bagnaia on occasions over the years, making mistakes when arguably he's not under pressure. It feels like when the pressure's at its highest, that's when Pecco Bagnaia is at his best, as he proved late last season in battle for the World Championship. So many of the incidents and crashes Bagnaia say in Grand Prix have been when he's in rather unchallenged positions. The unchallenged lead he had here last year was in a race 6 second place in Argentina last year when he crashed, 6th second in India when he went down, and he looked like he had the sprint under control in Portimao too when he made that mistake. So Bagnaia will feel keen to iron out those mistakes because it's very clear already after just 2 rounds of 2024 that Jorge Martin is not going to leave many points out there to be snatched by the rest of them. Bounce back ability is what Bagnaia needs here this weekend, and he has delivered in the class. He's not normally a rider that dwells too long on setbacks.